Hi there, my name's Beth, and today I'm going to do a video about my birthing experience of our first child. We currently only have one child, but this birthing experience is from like last April. This video is not going to get fully into every single detail, obviously, because I don't want to get like the video taken down, and I don't want to get into too much detail for personal reasons, as well as people aren't always comfortable with certain things that are involved in birth. Um, Also, if you see me just looking off to the side, it is because the baby monitor is set up because my child is currently napping. So, um, yeah, so I am going to start probably around like the 37-week mark of pregnancy. This is not going to cover my entire pregnancy. If you want to hear anything about that, let me know down below and I will do a separate video for that. But this is just going to be about the birth experience because I feel we need a lot more positive birthing representation, because not every birth experience is horrible, and I went into pregnancy and birth with a lot of anxiety because I'd really only heard the negative birthing experiences, and so I figured I would put my story out there because it was not a negative experience, and I think people do need to hear more about the positive experiences. So I'm going to start from about 37 weeks until she came home with us. So, like, not just at the hospital, but actually came home. And yes, we went to a hospital for our birth. I say we, I mean my husband and I. So, around 37 weeks is when I started going to the OB on a weekly basis. And she would basically, like, measure the bump, make sure baby was still growing well, check the heartbeat, which that was always the most exciting part. And then around 38 weeks is when she started offering the sweep, just to get things kind of moving along. And that is something I went into kind of nervous about, but it was fine, obviously, because of what they have to do with that. It is like an in office thing, and they basically just like sweep a little bit of your system with their fingers just to kind of stretch certain things that are going to help the baby come out. Trying to be as not detailed as possible. So yeah, around 38 weeks they start offering that. I took that one at 38 weeks. Felt a little bit of cramping, nothing too bad. I had a little bit of spotting. Again, nothing wild. Again, these are all things that my OB warned me that might happen. And then I just started walking, and my husband and I would just walk because I heard that would help labor get started. And then in 39 weeks, I went back. Still no baby, still about the same dilated. She offered me another one. I'm like, okay, we'll try it again. Around the 38-week sweep, this one might be a little bit detailed, but that was when the plug came out. If you have birthed a child, or if you are aware of what happens just before labor, you know what I mean by the plug. Yes, the plug came out, and then I didn't have any like labor symptoms, nothing like that. So at 39 weeks, I went back to the OB. She did another sweep, and again, I had like a little bit of cramping. I had less spotting, so everything was fine there. Still measuring well, still dilated. Baby's heartbeat is still great. And then 40 weeks. So at the 39-week appointment, the doctor was like, if we hit 40 weeks, then we can discuss like doing another sweep, but that will be your third one. We can discuss like induction, all of that. So baby was not down low at 39 weeks. She was still like right where she had been. She was head down. She had been head down since like 32 weeks. Everything was going really well there. I say she because our child is a female. So baby was head down, right where she should have been, and like everything was good. 39, went home. Great. 40 weeks. Due date comes. Super excited because we're like, this is happening like soon. Like within the next 2 weeks, she'll be here. I'm in Canada, and I know that just for like health related reasons, they don't generally allow you to go more than 2 weeks past your due date. So yeah. So on the 40-week appointment, my husband came with me to that one, and she was saying about like induction and how we could set up an induction for either like the week coming or the week after, which would have been like within the 2 weeks post due date. And then she gave me like a bunch of dates that we could book in. The date I chose to start the induction was the date that fell within my OB's working schedule. So like the day after the induction started, she would be at the hospital for a shift. And I was like, that feels really comfortable to me because I'm really comfortable with her. Every anxiety I've had, every concern I've had, I've like discussed with her, and she's calmed me. She's made me feel super great. I was like, okay, this feels a little bit odd. It's like we're picking her birth date, but who knows? So April 1st, set to go in, get the induction process started. Yes, I was induced with baby girl, but that's fine. So they did the balloon method of induction, and we went to the hospital. They did the induction starting process, so they put the balloon in. It's not like a regular balloon, it's like a tube that has like a little bulb, and then they put that in and fill it with water, so it's like a certain amount of centimeters. And then they sent us home, and we're basically like, if you start going into labor, come back, and if nothing's happened by the morning, come in the morning, we'll give you a check, we'll make sure everything's good. Perfect. All of this is going great so far. April 2nd, I wake up at like 6:15 a.m. and in bed obviously, I roll over to my husband and I'm like, I don't know if my water broke or if I just peed the bed, but I think I just peed. So like I have very vivid memories of that morning being like, I think my water just broke, like I think she's coming. And my husband, we have the Google Home system, so he asks like how much water is expected if your water breaks, and the system said like 4 cups, and he's like, okay, well there's no way there's 4 cups of liquid here, so I don't think it's your water. So I get up and I go to the bathroom, and like like it was not like a out of the movies gush, but there was definitely like a good gush of water come out, and the balloon fell out. So like, okay, things are happening. So it's like 6:30 in the morning at this point. My husband's on the phone. There's heavy spotting. Not like dangerous, but like, because everything is coming out, things are not always just water. There's a bit of heavy spotting coming out with this. My husband is like on the phone with the hospital, like asking what time we can come in. She's like 8 o'clock. I'm like, no, I'm bleeding. We gotta come. Sorry. They're spotting. I've got to come in. She's like, okay, come in like now. we'll check you out, everything. At that point, I'm like 5 centimeters dilated, maybe 4. It was about 4 or 5 centimeters. We're at like the 39 and 40 week appointment. I was like 2 to 3 centimeters. So it wasn't like that drastic. It wasn't like she's coming now. It was like, oh, it's happening. So she, like, we're prepared. Bag is in the car, hospital bag. We're ready to go. I'm like throwing a pillow in. We get to the hospital at like 6:40 because we lived like 10 minutes from the hospital at that point. Get there, get checked. We're waiting. And the very lovely nurse, like every nurse I experienced at the hospital was very lovely. She's like, okay, you're just gonna go like walk around the hospital. We'll like we'll get this going. I'm like, perfect. They're checking my blood pressure. They're checking everything. It's all really easy in textbook. Great. I do have a bit of anxiety at this point because the idea of like birthing a human is kind of scary, but it was my own anxieties. It was nothing based off of like what was happening in the moment. So we're there. We're just sitting. We're waiting. It's like 10 o'clock. My husband's like, the doctor's not here yet. I'm going to go downstairs and like get some food. And came back with like, basically the nurse was just like, you need to like just rest as much as you can now because obviously when baby comes, it's not going to be the same. So I'm sitting there resting. My husband goes and gets himself a coffee and gets some food for both of us. Comes back. We're waiting. Doctor comes, checks. Nothing really is new. They don't have an actual like labor room available right now. So we're waiting in this like general waiting room in the labor and delivery area, but like off to the side they don't have like an individual room for me to deliver. So we're waiting. It's like 1 p.m. My husband's like, okay, how far, like they basically, before they can let anything happen, they have to check, and we just keep asking like, do you know how long it's gonna be for a room? And she's like, maybe another like 3 hours. And my husband's like, okay, is there any way, like we live 10 minutes from here, is there any way we can go home for a bit and then come back in like 3 or 4 hours? Great. Super thankful that my husband is such a good support person in this experience. He is asking the nurse. I'm just like, okay, this is all happening. Like, yeah, I married a really good man. So we get the okay that I'm allowed to go home and then call back around 5. I think. Some of this gets blurry because it was like all in the heat. So we're supposed to call back around 5, check in, and then probably come back in around 6. So we go home. They're like, go home, eat, get some sleep, come back. So we go home. My husband makes some lunch. We take a nap. Like, we took like a good hour nap. We like just are hanging out, watching some TV. We were watching Breaking Bad at that point. So we're like laying in bed, watching TV, resting. We slept. We get up. I get up. My husband gets up and he's like, oh, I have to go to the washroom. And I was like, okay, you go. I need to go too, but I'll like go sit on the couch and wait for you, because it was like, I have to go, but I don't have to go, where he was like, I have to go. So he comes out. I stand up from the couch. Our couch is like here, and then our bathroom door is like here, and our bedroom door is here. So I like stand up from the couch, turn around the corner to go to the bathroom, and just like another gush comes out. And I'm like, okay, like obviously everything is out now because I was like, I think that's the 4 cups you were talking about. So another gush comes out. I'm like in the bathroom, doing whatever, putting on like more products to contain any leakage. My husband's like calling the hospital. He's like, hey, like there's another leak, blah blah blah. She's like, okay, like we don't quite have a room ready quite yet, but very soon, and you're next on the list. And so come in, like get a shower, and then come in. I'm like, my pants are soaked, my socks are soaked, like everything is just not usable. So I'm like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming soon. I like get up. I'm like, I need a shower. My husband's like, do you want me to help? And I'm like, yes, please. Like, just hose me down. Because, at this point, like 40 plus weeks pregnant, can't really see fully everything. So I'm like, I need you to just like hose me down, take off my socks, throw them all in the hamper. We'll deal with this later. Had like a nice warm shower. Before we went into the hospital that morning, I braided my hair because I was like, I know I want my hair in like 2 ponytail braids so it's out of my way and then I don't have to worry about it because braids don't really like get messed up. Okay, so it's like 6 p.m. No, it's like 5:30. We get back to the hospital. Again, 10 minutes, perfect. I've been having like the most mild cramps for a while, but like in my head at that point, I'm not in labor yet. I'm just like, everything is out, so she's coming soon. It's gonna get worse, but I'm not in labor. I've been having these mild cramps since like 6:15 when the first gush of water happened. Get to the hospital. By like 6 p.m., we're in a room for delivery. I get put on all the monitors. Like they had the belly monitor. They had like a baby heart rate monitor. So they have like everything going on. They're checking my blood pressure. They've got the tube attached to something sharp and pointy in my hand. And then like taped so that they can put more Pitocin or oxytocin in if they need to speed things up. Because obviously, nothing's really happening, just things are coming in. Cool. 6 o'clock, they're like monitoring. The nurse comes in and she's like, are you like having contractions? And I was like, no, I'm just having like mild cramps. And on the monitor, she's like, okay, well, you just had a contraction. So I had been having contractions since 6:45, 6:15 that morning. So I had been doing like 12 hours of labor without even knowing. So they started the oxytocin or Pitocin. It's the same thing, it's just called different names. They started on like the mildest dose, and I was like watching the contractions before on the screen, and it was at like 23% from like the tiniest dose they could do, like 10 milliliters every 2 hours type of vibe. My maybe not 0.1 milliliter. Like I couldn't even tell you the exact dose. It took my contractions from 23% up to like 55%, like that. Again, I knew kind of what I was in for. Before getting into the labor point, my husband and I talked. I was like, I don't want to do an epidural unless I absolutely need one, but like we'll discuss this when we're in the situation and then we'll figure it out. Obviously, my husband is like very supportive of what I'm choosing because it's affecting me. He's just there to be my voice. Obviously, and to see our child born. So we get there, 55%, like, is gone up a lot. I'm in pain. Not bad pain, but like, I can feel the contractions now a lot. They're like, do you need an epidural? Because the person to do the epidural is like right here, and we can get him, or else he's gonna keep doing it, and then he won't be back for a while. And I was like, can I get an epidural? And they're like, yes, like, let's go. So the setup of all that took like 25 minutes. They did it, got everything connected, got me back in the bed, down, ready, and feeling great. Cool. I'm like 6.5 centimeters at this point. It's like 7 p.m. They have a button I can like hit every 20 minutes, I think it was, maybe 15. They're like more of the epidural can come in. Things are moving along. Great. I'm not feeling it, but I'm feeling it a bit, but it's more like pressure than pain. Okay, so it's like 7. We've been doing a lot today. I'm like, I'm just gonna rest. My husband runs down, grabs some dinner at like 9:30 p.m. Like, thank God this hospital had food places open. He's like, do you want anything? I'm on the epidural. I can't eat more than like clear liquid. We brought some snacks and we brought some Gatorade, which was like the best thing ever. And we had water with us. I wasn't allowed to drink more than like water and the clear Gatorade. I was like, I really want a donut for after, like for as soon as the little kiddo comes out and I'm able to eat again, I want a donut. Some girls want sushi. Some girls want ham sandwiches. This girl wanted a donut. It's not like I wasn't allowed to have them. They were just conveniently available in the hospital. So get all of that done. He comes back with food. The nurse, my OB had gone home for the night, so it was a different OB or doctor, but my OB had like introduced this doctor to us. Lovely, great. The nurse, amazing. She was probably the most helpful person in that whole situation. She is in there with us like the whole time, monitoring. She turns off the lights so we can get some rest. Perfect. Comes back in at like 11:30, 12, and she's like, okay, you're like 9.5 centimeters. We need to we're gonna start pushing, so I'm gonna teach you. So she's like no, this was not like midnight. This was more like 1:30 a.m. She's like, so I'm gonna like kind of guide you through it. Perfect. We start, and okay, I'm gonna be fast, but I'm probably gonna have to make a part 2 to this because my daughter is waking up. So we get there. She's like, it's like 1:30 in the morning. She's guiding me through how to push. My husband's on the other side, like holding one leg. She's got like my other leg on her hip so I can like push really easily. Guiding me through. Amazing. As I said, incredible. Yes. Yeah, she's awake. I'm gonna have to do a part 2. So right now, we are at the pushing part of this story with a very helpful nurse. Okay, I will be back.